Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Christopher, who is 20 years old and making $50,000 a year remotely as a digital marketer. And he did not go to college. He skipped college for success, which is what I recommend on this channel. So I'm really excited to share his story with you. Thank you for being here, Christopher.
Yeah, thank you, Seth. It's really great to be here.
Awesome. So why don't you tell people a little bit about your current job?
Yeah, so currently I work at Randall Riley. It is a trucking agency for digital marketing, and it's remote. It's in Alabama, Tuscaloosa. And right now I'm based in Miami Gardens, Florida, working remotely.
That's awesome. And when you say it's a trucking company, you mean it's a digital agency that focuses on trucking companies as clients?
Yeah, so specifically, this might sound like jargon, but Class A licenses and like gigantic trucks, flatbeds, things like that.
Cool. And this is your first digital marketing job. And again, what are you making?
Yeah, first digital marketing job, 50K, and the people are awesome, and it's just great.
That's fantastic. So I wanted to get into that a little bit and just tell me, we're going to talk in a minute about how you got here at age 20. People want to know, but what's the job like? Do you enjoy it? How much ad spend are you managing? Like, what are you actually doing there?
Yeah, so my day to day is pretty much, since it's remote, it's they say 8 to 5, but it's kind of like whenever you can get your work done, you can get your work done. And the this is the part where I fumble, but pretty much I start my day, I talk to the team, I see how my campaigns are doing. Right now, it's roughly 20 to 30K, and it's been increasing as people have been getting promoted in my department. And yeah, most of it is just looking at the campaigns, optimizing them. If something really major needs to be changed, I talk to someone else in the team. And sometimes I get to talk to like the sales reps in the company.
That's great. And so you're managing between 20 and 30,000 a month, right? Is that what you meant
Yeah,
by 20K dollars a month in ad spend?
yeah.
And your schedule, it sounds like it's relatively flexible. They're not like breathing down your neck. You are treated like an adult. You just kind of whenever you get the work done, you get the work done.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like honestly, I could have never expected this because like it's just insane to me because in my last job, which is like it was part-time, it's a world of difference with how you're treated. Like not only do like they respect you and your time, it's just like how they talk to you, like, yeah, you can do this, man. It's okay. Like even if people like take your time, everyone is like there for each other. It's like a group effort, and it's just so great.
That's awesome, man. And what were you doing before? What was your other job?
I was a cashier at Wendy's.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that leads us to how did you get from being a cashier at Wendy's with no college degree to making 50K at a digital marketing agency? So why don't you tell people a little bit about, I'll just tell people, you told me you took the course back in like
Yeah.
3 years ago when you were in high school, but you really, one of the reasons I changed the pricing and everything is it sounds like you joined for like a month. You weren't able to really apply everything in that short amount of time. So you didn't follow through on it. And then a few months ago, you said you rejoined the course, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So tell us the story. Like what happened? What was the difference this time? And what happened since you joined the course, maybe like 6 months ago?
Yeah. So 100% the difference this time was that I was strongly motivated by positive emotions and not negative ones. This time I was determined I'm going to do all the steps because last time I didn't follow all the steps and that's why it didn't work. But this time I'm going to follow all the steps. This time, even if it takes a while, I'm going to be patient and I'm going to believe and trust in this process no matter what. And it worked. And also it really helps like the mindset part in your course. It helped a lot.
That's fantastic, man. So I'm really happy you came in with that positive attitude. Tell people a little bit about the nuts and bolts of it. Like, so did you generate some experience, and how was it? How did you, people wonder, like, how did you get job interviews when all you had on your resume before this was like, I don't know, Wendy's?
Yeah. So last time when I joined the course and I kind of fumbled, somewhere in between, I just randomly came across your channel for like the third or second time. And I was looking in the comments and someone mentioned something about Gen M. And I was like, what's Gen M? And keep in mind, I'm not even in your course at this point. So I Google Gen M. You can get internships on there. I get internships. I build experience. And from there, I get the Wendy's job. I actually follow the steps. I get a little bit more experience from like reaching out to family members and getting into Google Ads, like officially. And from there, I did interviews.
So let me just drill in on that second. So you got into Google Ads, meaning you ran some ads for some local businesses, some family or friends had business, and they let you run the ads for them.
Yeah. So family members, I helped them with the Google Ads and the Facebook. And for the internships, it was the exact same thing, except with a little bit of SEO, Google and Facebook.
That's fantastic. So you followed the instructions and you changed your resume, I imagine. And what was it like when you started applying for jobs?
Yeah, so this time it was so different because last time I did the worst thing you can possibly do. I applied to like 50 places and I didn't tailor my resume at all. It was just like a nightmare. And I was wondering why aren't people getting back to me? But now this time I I have my resume templates. I'm actually tailoring it, even though it takes time. I'm tailoring every single job application, and unsurprisingly, people get back to me. It's like every week, either 2 or 3 calls. And I remember so distinctly. There was this one week where I had an interview every single day, and I was starting to feel burnt out. Like I have all these interviews. Oh my gosh! And it was great in like the best possible way, even if it was like a big load.
Yeah, that's a great thing to complain about. And just to distinguish for people, like I said, if you took the course when you're in high school and you only spent a month and you told me you didn't do all the modules, then you weren't able to really change your resume the right way either. And then if you bulk apply, that's, a lot of, especially younger people do that. It's very common. So I'm glad that you matured and you came back and did it the right way. So so you had all these interviews. How did the interviews go? Like, again, they're talking to you and they amaze you. Have all you got on your resume is everything you did in the course and Wendy's. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. You even got the interviews. How did it go in the interviews?
So the first ones, not the first ones, almost most of them were bombs. Like these were the first interviews I had ever had besides Wendy's, and so I had to like sharpen my interviewing skills, and that was a bit of a toughie because sometimes I err on the side of introversion, and I like to think I'm pretty persuasive, but you know, interviewing really is a skill in and of itself because like you have to study what most of the interview questions are. Like even in digital marketing, it can be very specific. You can guess, okay, I'm going to be interviewed about, what uh, a search ad looks like and specifically how many characters. But also you need to display that, hey, I can do this work, I'm confident, and I can really bring value to your company. And having to do all of that was a bit of a struggle. But I will say the thing that really helped was every single time I bombed an interview, every single time I learned something very, very small that would increase my chances of getting a job next time. And it just kept compounding and compounding until finally I got the position.
That's really well put. I mean, interviewing is its own skill, and there is training in the course on that, and you get feedback from Nick and other students. but you have to actually do it. And it is a interpersonal thing. And sometimes people are just, like you said, I think the most common thing is people lock up or they get a little shy or they get a little bit restrained in the interview because you're nervous. It's a new field. You're just working at Wendy's. But the fact, I say it's all in your head because these guys actually called you for a reason. They need someone who has your skills, or they would have said, "Oh, this guy works at Wendy's, forget about it." No, but they're talking to you for a reason. And it sounds like just over time, you just built more confidence. And you got to go through those first couple of interviews. And I would assert that you didn't just learn something small from each interview, man. Even talking to you now, you have a manner that is very mature for your age. I can tell, and you've become much more comfortable with interpersonal communication. So why don't you tell people about the interview at this current company and how that one went?
Yeah, so honestly, of all the digital marketing interviews I had, this one felt the most bizarre, not because like the questions were hard, but because I was asked things that I had never been asked in any other interviews. Like it felt like I was asked a bunch of questions that I wasn't asked, but I still knew the answer to. And so on the fly, I had to like consciously think, oh, I do X, Y, Z and yada yada. But also at the end of the interview, I asked them, hey, what type of books do you like? What do you recommend? And they said Brene Brown. And I thought, Brene Brown, I love that author. And it was the follow-up email that I made was just, I think that's also why I got the job, because when I was asking people in the company what books you like, they were like, Brene Brown. And so I thought, yeah, Brene Brown.
That's great, man. Well, that shows you have like a cultural fit when you guys have things in common. Um, and if they asked you questions that you had, like questions about digital marketing, where they ask you about like accounts, like what would you do in this situation? And you had to kind of come up with an answer on the spot.
Yeah.
That's, guys, and when people do that, again, they're not looking for the perfect answer, because the chances are you're not going to have the perfect answer to a question, but they want to see how your thought process is and if you can answer the question at all. And essentially, what you've heard interview after interview is like, are you a problem solving type person? Are you gonna be like, well, I don't know what I would do, or are you gonna try to come up with, or you even say, I would research what I didn't know about A, B, and C. So how did it go after that interview? Like, was there multiple interviews? Did you get the job right away? What happened?
Yeah, so it was just one interview, but there was an assessment. And I remember I crushed that assessment. I had gotten like other like homework assignments after other interviews. And very distinctly, I remember I knew everything. Like everything I learned in the course actually helped me fill out the homework assignment. And it felt good. And on top of the good interview and crushing that assignment, I did the follow-up email, and it just felt like everything I learned accumulated and just came together in the best way.
That's great, man. What did you say in your follow-up email? Because it's a tricky thing because you don't want to be you don't want to kind of be bugging the people that you just interviewed with. What did you say?
Yeah, so the very first thing I said was thank you for your time. And then the second thing I said was I tried to hook it back to the interview. And so at the end of the interview, I said, what books do you like? And in a follow-up email, I mentioned, hey, I researched this book that you mentioned from Brene Brown, and I've heard of the author and I really love them. I'm going to research it and get back to you.
That's cool. That's a nice follow-up email because it's not like a needy, like, hey, it was nice talking to you, please give me the job. You were focused on a common interest and demonstrating your proactivity in researching. So that is a much more natural, cool thing, when you can like speak to something in the interview that came up that was a common interest. So then what happened after you did the assessment?
Yeah. So after I did the assessment, no, during the interview, they said, hey, thank you for your time, Chris. We'll get back to you in 3 and 4 weeks. I do the follow-up email and they get back to me in 3 days. And so I was like, oh, what? This is awesome.
That's great. And again, so after and then you did the assessment, and then did you get what happened? Did you get the offer then?
Yeah. So like in 3 days, they just sent me a company email saying, we would like to have you a part of the team. You will be working remotely for 50K. And when I saw that, I was like, yes.
That's awesome, man. And so that's great. How did that feel?
It felt truly ecstatic. I remember when I saw that email, I went to my living room and I saw my mom and I was like, come here, come here. And she saw it too. And we were like, yes, yes.
Aw, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great. So your parents are happy.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Um, and so what was it like on your first week, your first, beginning of this job? You'd never worked in this field before. Like, what was it like for you? Were you given a lot of support?
I was given so much support and I'm super thankful and grateful for that because the first week, even though like I knew I was competent and I could do the work, it was still like a almost slimy feeling of imposter syndrome. Like something bad was gonna happen. Even though I know I can do this, still that feeling was coming up. And not only did the support from the company helped, but like for me personally, doing things like meditation really helped like be in control of like the sensations, you know?
Oh, that's really good advice from
Yeah.
even from somebody your age. Like what I could speak to a few things about that. Like number one, yeah, it's absolutely normal to feel imposter syndrome, but just do it, meditate, do whatever you can to ignore it. It's just normal. It's just like some of the most famous actors and singers on the planet still get stage fright. They still get nervous, Johnny Carson, who's way before your time, was like one of the most famous talk show hosts. They used to smoke cigarettes before because he was nervous. He was 40 years he did this talk show. And he was always nervous beforehand. So if you're in your first job at age 20 or you're whatever, and you feel nervous or you feel that kind of imposter, it's totally normal. And you got to just ignore it and focus on what you know. And so now, so that was in the beginning. Now you've been there for like what, 4 months?
Yeah. It's been exactly a little over a month. I've been there for 6 weeks now.
Oh, I thought it was
And
a little longer, but wow, you've been there 6 weeks. Okay, so now how do you feel?
yeah, yeah. I feel pretty good. Honestly, like the one thing that I'm gonna keep saying this, but I'm just so grateful. The amount of support I get from the people is just so like unfathomable. Like they're really there for you. Like you have any questions, they're like, yes, ask all the questions possible, which is great for me because I love asking questions because sometimes I don't get it the first time, and so I have to clarify, is this how you do it? And yeah.
That's fantastic, man. And what kind of meditation are you doing? You just like watching your breath, or how did you get into all that?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a meditation nut. I've been doing it for 5 years. The one I love the most is Sadhguru's Inner Engineering, Shambhavi Mahamudra.
You do
Yeah,
Shambhavi.
yeah.
You do that every morning?
Every morning. I did it this morning and then I do it again in the evening.
That's pretty awesome, man. I was gonna do a video about those because I am also a meditator, and I was gonna recommend Sakuru. I did, I actually saw him in person in Malaysia.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I reviewed it. Um, and it's a really good technique. I do it every day too. And I haven't talked about it much on the channel, but I will say to a lot of people, mindset is so important: focus, clarity, calmness. So I can tell you've been doing something, and it will definitely help you on your digital marketing job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and again, so I wanted to go more into this just because it sounded like it was really great. Your mom and your family, how do they feel about all this?
Yeah. Well, of course, my mom is like, I'm so proud of you. This is awesome. And because, like any, supportive parent, she really, really wanted me to become independent by myself. And this is like a gigantic milestone. Like, I actually am starting to plan to move out. Probably not soon. I'm gonna save up, but yeah, I can finally like plan to move out and live the life I want to do. Perhaps travel and just live an independent life, which is just awesome. And other family members, yeah, pretty much all of them like, across the board are like, nice. Yeah.
No kidding. That's fantastic, man. What was I gonna say? And also, and it sounds like you didn't have that pressure to go to college, or did you?
No. So funny story. I actually read your book and
Oh, look,
yeah,
that's my book.
that's a gigantic reason of why I didn't go to college. I remember very distinctly. I pretty much said no. I'm not going to go to college because number one, even though I'm going to a magnet school to become a lawyer, I'm not interested in that. And number two, this digital marketing thing, I seriously believe it after doing all my research. And number three, like I believed in myself, and that was a really big factor. I believe at least because I was doing things that would improve my life. I was reading different types of books. I was meditating. I was exercising. I was trying to find anything to improve my life. And I was getting the feeling that I'm not going the normal path most people are doing, where they go to college and they do the path that everybody talks about. Since I'm not doing this, I'm probably gonna have to work harder, but that's all right. I'm gonna figure it out. And your book really, really helps me like get in the right headspace and confidently say, no, I'm not doing this. That's in my opinion, it's like a trap. I'd rather just forge my own path.
Good for you, man. I'm really happy to hear that. That's why I wrote it. So for people like you and anybody watching, guys, you guys, when you're smart, you're driven, and you already have an idea that you don't want to go to college, it's probably not going to convince the people who are on the college, in the college religion, as I call it. They're a convert. They believe you can't talk them out of it, but it's to make sure you guys feel confident that you're doing the right thing. And now it's just amazing because like you're like 4 years ahead of all those other people. You're already making probably twice as much as what the average college grad makes because they just are making minimum wage when they get out of school, and you don't have any debt. So well done. And it sounds like you enjoy the work as well.
Yeah. Specifically at the company Randall, I do exclusively PPC, which is what I always wanted to do. I actually I really enjoy like writing blog posts and doing SEO, but that's fine. PPC is awesome too. So yeah, I like to work.
That's fantastic. Yeah. PPC, guys, by the way, it's pay per click. If you haven't taken the course, that's paid search. Those are the ads you see on Google when you do searches. That's where the majority of jobs are. That's where the biggest lack of talent is, and lack of skilled workers and opportunities are. And I'm really excited, man, for you, because again, you're just starting out, and gonna you're gonna have recruiters coming after you, and in a year or two, it's just gonna keep getting better. But I think it's also great you're with a company that's so supportive, and they're just, I mean, guys, like, you're getting paid to be trained. I've said this in a couple other interviews. I think I was just talking to Nathan, and I was just talking to Ovik. I just did like two other interviews, and it was the same thing. You're hearing like people not only getting paid a good wage, you're getting paid to learn versus paying some college to learn nonsense. So I just think it's great, man. Do you have any advice or anything you'd want to say to people watching the interview?
Yeah, 100%. So no matter what, it's extremely pivotal that you follow all of the steps and that you believe in and you trust the process and you believe in and trust yourself to get it done. Like it probably there are going to be trials and tribulations, but if you do the proper steps and you believe you can do it, and it also helps to meditate and be motivated by positive emotions. But if you really just do the first two things, then you'll be perfectly fine. Follow the steps, believe in yourself.
Very well said. I really like that. That is really well said about positive emotions. That's why, you know, sometimes people come to me and I'm very sympathetic when people, you know, if they lost their job or they have a financial pressure and they want to change careers. And I appreciate that. But I always tell people, don't spend your last, you know, $1,000 or whatever on this course, or, you know, however many $100 on this course. You got to be able to pay your rent. You got to be able to feel comfortable, and you got to be able to focus and feel good. You can't be desperate. So ultimately, it's what you said, and much better, I think, is focus on those positive emotions, focus on what's possible, and be excited about the process, because that also, it communicates in the interview. You know, when you show up and you're just geeking out about digital marketing, that's when you get hired. And if you show up and you're like, I need a job, people aren't going to hire you. That's just how it is. So I'm thrilled because I keep getting more and more people like you in the course. It's a great community. And I'm very, very happy for you and for your family. So yeah, man, thanks for coming on the channel. And let's, you know, we'll do a follow-up in 6 months or a year and see where you are.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, Christopher. Thanks again. You have yourself a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.